Welcome to Radio Express World News, presented by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. Talks on the United States stimulus bill took another turn yesterday as Senator Mitch McConnell advised the White House not to rush into striking a deal with Speaker Nancy Pelosi before Election Day. The advice came as a blow to President Trump, who had remarked in an earlier statement that a deal should be arrived at before November 3rd, as it will give him time to enact a new round of pandemic aid. With the elections gaining momentum on one hand, the country faces a third surge of coronavirus cases on the other. With many states in the Midwest and West battling to contain the spread of the virus, the latest wave threatens to be the worst of the pandemic yet. While hospitals are brimming with patients in Ohio, North Dakota recorded over 1,000 cases on Tuesday. Even in the light of an upward spike in several parts of the East Coast, Governor Andrew Cuomo did not add the neighboring cities of New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania to the quarantine list. In effect, travelers from these neighboring states would not be required to quarantine. The governor further clarified that enforcement in these three states would be very difficult to maintain considering the large volume of interstate travel. And in California, another pandemic-triggered challenge is the possession of guns. Gun sales shot up by a huge margin with over 100,000 guns sold since the start of the pandemic. Buyers cited civil unrest, economic downturns, and the release of prisoners as compelling reasons to own a weapon. Moving on to Italy, Lombardy becomes the new hotspot in the country, and authorities will be imposing new restrictions to curb the virus as well as to minimize hospitalizations. To that effect, an 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew will come into effect on Thursday and is expected to be in place until November 13th. Owners of shopping centers will be asked to close on weekends except for shops that sell food. Officials concluded that new measures are being enforced after experts advised them of the challenge faced by hospitals. According to experts, if the current trend continues, then admissions into intensive care units would take a giant leap from 113 to 600 by the end of the month. And in China, a senior official announced that 60,000 vaccine candidates from around the world have been administered the Chinese vaccines in clinical trials. The result of the trials looked positive as none of the candidates experienced any serious adverse reactions. Currently, 4 vaccine candidates are in phase 3 trials, after which the vaccine will be sent for regulatory approval. Speaking at a news conference, a senior official at China's Ministry of Science and Technology said initial results show that they are safe. Further, the head of China's coronavirus vaccine development task force confirmed that the country plans to produce up to 610 million doses of coronavirus vaccines by the end of this year. Meanwhile, researchers at Imperial College London embark on a mission to understand the immunization pattern of individuals. The study will involve infecting healthy volunteers with the coronavirus in a deliberate attempt to monitor how people who have been immunized with various other vaccines respond to the controlled exposure to the virus. The study is slated to start in January at a quarantine facility. Reliable sources from the government confirmed that the research will be funded by the British government to the tune of £34 million. That said, medical experts are skeptical of the research because there is no highly effective treatment for COVID-19. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Boris Johnson ordered the city of Greater Manchester to be put under the highest level of virus restrictions, including the closure of pubs and bars and banning of indoor socializing from different households. At a time when many countries are battling a second or even third surge in coronavirus cases, India recorded only 310 cases per 1 million people in the last 7 days. Having said that, with the upcoming season of festivals in India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged the people to tighten up their vigilance against the coronavirus. Major Indian festivals like Dussehra and Diwali and associated holidays pose the risk of triggering a surge if people do not follow safety protocols. A Chinese soldier that accidentally strayed into eastern Ladakh was dutifully handed back to the Chinese army last night. Meanwhile, hundreds of protesters in Lagos, Nigeria, took to the streets condemning the 24-hour curfew imposed by the government. The Nigerian police intervened and opened fire, causing the death of at least 7 people and leaving several protesters severely injured. Moving on, In a bid to prevent migrants from entering the European Union, Greece is in the process of extending a border wall along its frontier with Turkey. The border extension plan was confirmed by the Greek government. In effect, a 16-mile wall will be appended to the existing 6-mile fence along the Ivro River. The cost of the project is estimated to be around 63 million euros and is expected to be completed by April 2021. Ending today's bulletin with news from Canada, after 4 years of trial, a Canadian police officer was acquitted of charges on Tuesday. Daniel Monteson, who was accused of being responsible for the death of a mentally ill black man, was set free yesterday as there wasn't enough evidence to prove him guilty. With that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next program on Radio Express. To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message, English programs, to 90727 95547. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Express. Thank you.